Hey everyone, I thought I'd make a quick video about how I ended up getting top 10 in Titan Souls in around a week. So you can see my first time streaming it was the day I got it, which was 9 days ago. And then I've been playing it pretty much every day, even twice a day there, all this time there. I did take a break for Spelunky one day, but yeah, it's been pretty much just Titan Souls for like 2 hours each time. So, if you want to get like a good time in a new speedrun fast, you gotta just practice and you gotta start doing runs like right away. Cause the more runs you do, the more practice you'll get through like overall. Cause some people they'll think like, oh, I should just practice all the time, but if you practice, then you're not gonna have experience like dealing with stress and dealing with the harder parts of the run during actual run. So if we look at my highlights, you can see how my time improved. So I started off with a 25 and then brought it down to a 21, and then just a couple minutes every time or just a few seconds until I ended up with this time. So I should tell you about, so the way this run works is it's not like most of my speedruns from the past, like Out There Somewhere, where it's just a platformer. This one, it's kind of more of just all the hard parts is just dealing with the bosses, and there's a couple of tricky bosses. So the very first boss, the slime boss, is probably one of the hardest bosses in the game. And then after that, there's not really any RNG, but the slime boss is a bunch of RNG. And once you get to basically the very end, there's a boss named Gulsul, and you have to clip in this tiny little gap behind him by wiggling the control stick, and there's a chance that sometimes you just won't be able to do that in time to escape the fists. So that was just a huge benefit for my previous run. And also this soul strategy for the very last boss, I didn't know for most of the time I was running, so that helped out a lot too. And it wasn't just me that was learning this. I had my friend Goliath here. You can see in chat. So actually the first, I guess I'll just play this little chart so you can see what he looks like. But the first person that encouraged me was Jake, and Jake he had like a 17, which kind of encouraged me because I had around a 20-minute time, and I was like, oh, I can maybe try to beat a 17 or whatever. And then he ended up getting a 16, and I was like, oh, I guess I can try to beat that. And then he kind of stopped playing, but I still had like a lot of interest in it, and I felt like my time could be beaten pretty easily. So I just kept grinding it and like pushing it down just a little bit each day. And yeah, so as for practice, I practiced, I'd say maybe like less than half of the time that I played it. And most of it was just runs. But when you're dealing with practice with a new speed game, you want to look at where you screwed up in runs and then just practice that for like 30 minutes, or for as long as you need. And there's a lot of little intricacies that you can only get by playing. Like there, you can roll after shooting the arrow, and that's quicker than if you just grab it. And how you can roll through the eye door, and the timing for the buffered rolls through the door, which is after the fade out. Also, that there by slime was a risky skip, which is kind of difficult to do because it's a one frame. So that's why I decided to just do one per run. But after this, I might try to do more of those. And there's still a lot of ways that this run could be beaten just in terms of boss strategies, because There's like a couple of things, like this boss for instance, where I don't get as close as I could get because I'm not sure what the actual distance is. But the run's definitely not like super insane at this point, even for a top 10, which is kind of crazy to me because looking at like the world record for this game like a week ago, I thought that's too crazy. I mean, 4 frame perfect tricks and all those bosses were like, well, they looked perfect to me then, but time goes on. That world record's pretty old. So just as a proof thing, there it says I played 24 hours, which is like a day, and so I played casually. My first casual playthrough was maybe like 3 hours, and that was 100%. And I played hard mode for like a couple hours, and beat that. I guess just casually, it wasn't like that hard for me. The boss that took the most time was Soul, I think, took like 40 minutes. But the rest of the bosses weren't too rough. It's mainly all about just, it's kind of like a puzzle game. Once you figure out a boss's weakness, you know how to kill it. And once you look at speedrun strats, you just know how to kill it forever. But yeah, so I guess the way I learned was just practicing a lot. Oh, see ya. That was just my mom bugging me. But anyways, so yeah, a lot of the early motivation came from Jake, and then it was just from the actual Discord. People like Goliath coming in chat. There was one other guy, I forgot their name. And I believe the this Titan Souls tutorial by Zik3 was just super helpful. I can't find the original one. That's kind of a spoiler to just put the final boss there like that. What a freaking jerk. But yeah, I think it was Zik3. I don't know why the original one is gone. But anyways, Zik3 does a lot of really helpful videos if you're trying to get into Titan Souls. But yeah, the motivation just came from Jake and from seeing my time went down. And by streaming it for only 2 hours, you don't get like as frustrated or like burnt out as well. So I tried to keep my Titan Souls streams pretty short for learning a new game. I watched a lot of runs as well. I watched like maybe 10 or so runs. Not streaming, just watching the runs and looking at the different strategies. And that definitely helps. You can kind of Frankenstein your own run out of seeing what works for other people. Like that roll right there was kind of something I came up with. As far as routing, my routing changed a ton. And you can actually tell because it says like -30 there. Or +26, -19. It's a new route. So I started out doing world record route, which was get the checkpoint by the night, and then do fire, or this area. But then I switched to doing forests, but not the bosses, because I would die at fire. But then when I got comfortable enough, I would start doing forest warp, which is the fastest way without risky skips. Because world record does 4 risky skips, but I just do 1 for now. I'll probably try to add it up to 2 or something. Maybe I'll risky on the brain. Maybe a forest boss or 2. So anyways, if you want to get good at a speed game, just play every day, practice as much as you need to, but not more than that. Don't go overkill with practice. Don't practice stuff that you don't need to practice. Like, I didn't practice that boss the whole day that I did this, because I already practiced him. So don't practice what you're pretty sure you already know. Yeah, but learning Titan Souls, I'd say actually a lot of it was having just Goliath here in chat. Having a good chat, or even just like one good chatter, can change a lot for morale. You know, versus like just grinding offline on your own. Although I do see why some people like to do that. It all just comes down to personal preference on that. But yeah, I kind of hope getting top 10 will maybe add some more streamers that I can watch that play Titan Souls, because Titan Souls, even though I talk about like Risky Skip being annoying, it's still probably one of my favorite speed games. Like, looking at my other speed games. Iconoclast is a lot of fun. Kind of want to go back to Iconoclast. Super Meat Boy, it's alright, but I feel like you get burned out more. Typically, the runs I tend to get really into are the shorter runs. Like, this and stuff. Anything around 10 minutes is a lot of fun to optimize. Because, like, Celeste is just way too much to focus on for a long time at a time. Plus, they're always changing it, which is a headache. I don't think Titan Souls has been updated since it's been released. But, yeah, so... Well, also from this, you can see I just ran a bunch of different games. The more games you run, the more you'll be good at, like, learning new strats. Iconoclast has a really solid tutorial. Spelunky has some really solid tutorials, like the Olmec fight video by Krill, which is really good. Stu kind of just held my hand for that run, so that's probably all him, except for the Moonlord death, which is my fault. XD. Oh, I guess we could look at speedrun challenge. There's someone that said, yeah, Coco, top 10 time in a week is crazy. But if you just work hard and you practice at it, you're gonna get, maybe not a top 10 time, but you're gonna get a good time. You're gonna get like a 15 or something if you practice for a week. And you practice all the bosses and you learn where you're dying and then you stop dying at those places. And you know, if you're having trouble with a fast strat, like you can't beat soccer ball because you just can't get the timing down, just learn a safe strat. It'll cost you like maybe 5 seconds, but if you learn a safe strat and you get consistent, that's a lot better than just slamming your head against a boss. Anyways, so thanks for coming, guys. Titan Souls is a lot of fun. I'm probably gonna keep playing it, maybe for another week. We'll see. Alright, see ya. Hey guys, so I forgot to say it in the original, but also, Kieran, I played Out There Somewhere, and he was kind of the guy who was super good at Out There Somewhere, and he had a 12th place time. So I also kind of had, you know, a little bit of a friendly rivalry with him, so I wanted to see if I could get a time close to him. And then I ended up getting top 10, which I wasn't really expecting. But yeah, go Kieran. He's like really good at games. He's great. I like Kieran.